Washington's long-simmering trade war with Beijing has reached a boiling point.
Great relationship, and I look very much forward to it.
President Xi Jinping has been on a week-long charm offensive with global CEOs.
人民也绝不允许任何外来势力。
Would love to be able to work a deal.
$1 trillion in market value from the S&P 500.
The S&P.
China's 2035 plan is set to reshape the global balance of power, and the U.S. is struggling to keep up. From tech domination to military advancements, the secret strategy behind China's rise is far more ambitious than anyone realized. And the question is, can the U.S. stop it, or is it already too late? China's technological leap. In the past decade, China has set its sights on becoming the world's technological leader by 2035. With the rise of artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and next-gen telecommunications, China's rapid strides in innovation have left many wondering how the U.S. will respond. The centerpiece of this plan is the Made in China 2025 initiative, a strategy designed to overhaul China's industrial landscape. This isn't just about building faster trains or more efficient electronics. China is aiming for self-reliance, reducing dependence on foreign tech, and challenging the dominance of American companies like Apple, Intel, and Google. China has already made impressive advances in sectors like 5G, with companies such as Huawei leading the charge. They are expected to dominate the global 5G market by 2035. Paving the way for everything from smart cities to advanced manufacturing, all run on Chinese infrastructure. This technological takeover is not just a market shift, it's a power shift. Economic power and the Belt and Road Initiative. One of the core elements of China's secret 2035 plan is the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, a massive infrastructure and economic development project spanning continents. It's China's way of cementing its influence on a global scale by building railways, highways, and ports across Africa, Europe, and Asia.
Speaking during a cabinet meeting yesterday, President Trump struck an unexpectedly conciliatory tone, saying he would love to get a deal with China.
The idea is simple: provide countries with the infrastructure they need in exchange for political and economic alliances. The BRI is not only about trade routes, it's a global strategy to create new economic dependencies. Through massive loans and investments, China has been able to establish a strong foothold in strategic regions, particularly in Africa and Central Asia. The U.S. can't simply step in and offer a competing initiative of equal scale and scope. By 2035, the U.S. might find itself outmaneuvered on the global stage, as China effectively controls the economic flow between Europe, Asia, and Africa. A new military strategy. While the technological and economic aspects of China's 2035 plan are front and center, we can't ignore its military ambitions. The Chinese military, the People's Liberation Army, PLA, is undergoing a massive modernization. By 2035, China aims to have a world-class military capable of rivaling the U.S. in key areas like cyber warfare, space operations, and naval dominance. The U.S. military has long been the world's most formidable force, but China's growing presence in the South China Sea, coupled with its advancements in hypersonic missiles, creates a serious challenge to American military superiority. China's increasing defense budget means they can outpace the U.S. in developing new technologies. Their strategic investments in advanced AI, unmanned vehicles, and military robotics are giving them an edge in future warfare, which could potentially make direct military confrontations less likely, but much more dangerous. China's political system and global influence. One of the reasons why the U.S. can't effectively counter China's rise is because of the fundamental differences in governance.
Apple shares posting their worst month in more than 2 years.
America's biggest technology companies lost some $750 billion in all.
While the U.S. is a democracy with checks and balances, China operates under a highly centralized and authoritarian government. This gives China an enormous advantage when it comes to executing long-term plans. Whereas the U.S. often has to deal with political gridlock and frequent leadership changes, China has a single-party system that allows for continuity in policy and strategy. The leadership in Beijing has a clear vision of what they want to achieve by 2035, and they have the power to implement it without the kind of resistance seen in the US or other democratic nations. This allows China to allocate resources and push through policies that further their national interests without opposition, from the development of state-owned enterprises to the expansion of their global influence. The United States dilemma. Despite the US's efforts to counter China's rise, there are several factors that make stopping this 2035 plan nearly impossible. First, the global economy is increasingly interconnected, and China has become too vital to disrupt. With China as one of the world's largest trade partners, the US is economically bound to China in ways that are difficult to escape. While the US may impose tariffs or sanctions, these have limited long-term impact. China has the resources, talent, and manufacturing capabilities to pivot and continue growing, all while diversifying its trade routes and seeking new markets.
They've really taken advantage of our country for a long period of time. They've ripped us off beyond nobody, how people stood for it.
Second, the sheer size of China's population and its ability to mobilize resources on a massive scale is another factor that makes US interference difficult. China's political system allows for centralized planning, which means large-scale projects, like the BRI or military modernization, can be executed swiftly and efficiently. The US can't match that speed and coordination. Even though the US has a technological advantage in certain sectors, China's ability to quickly absorb foreign technology and integrate it into its own systems makes it an innovation powerhouse. Lastly, the growing anti-US sentiment around the world means China's soft power is becoming increasingly effective. Through cultural diplomacy, media influence, and development aid, China has been able to sway countries away from American influence and toward a new global order where Beijing is at the center. The US may have global allies, but China's strategy is working, and the balance of power is shifting away from Washington. The future of US-China relations. As we approach 2035, the US must prepare for a world where China is no longer just a competitor, but a dominant global force. There will be no stopping China's rise, but the US can still focus on competing in areas where it excels, like innovation, military readiness, and maintaining alliances. The competition between the US and China isn't necessarily a zero-sum game, but for the US to maintain its global influence, it will need to adapt and rethink how it engages with a rapidly changing world order. China's 2035 plan is already set in motion, and the US will need to be proactive in ensuring it doesn't lose its seat at the table.
Even Tesla, it turns out, doesn't like tariffs. That company, owned by President Trump's right-hand man, Elon Musk, has sent a letter to the administration.
As China's global footprint continues to expand, so too will its technological, military, and economic power. The US must act fast to counterbalance China's ascent, but it must do so with a strategic understanding that the world, as it was, is no longer the same. By 2035, a new order may emerge, and the US must decide what role it will play in it. With China's long-term goals taking shape, the US faces a crucial crossroads. The race for global dominance is on, and it's anyone's guess who will come out on top.
Dialogue, their actions, however, and memes hint at a nation gearing up for a long, bitter fight. As Trump maintains...
Like, subscribe, and share your thoughts. Can the US still catch up, or is China's future already locked in?